to talk to you about Frozen 2, because that movie had so much potential, but it was like wasted so badly. Get out of my way, Branch. Alright, I don't know. Like, I think like the animation, the music, they were perfect. They were brilliant. They were so good. I think just what made it such a bad movie was the writers didn't write the characters well. Like, there was nothing wrong with the plot. It was a bit standard, I guess you could say. But there was nothing wrong with the plot. What was wrong was how the characters were written. I guess we'll go from like my least issues with the characters to the most issues. Olaf. Olaf in the first movie was very fun. He was a quirky character. He was something, a good merchandising deal, you know? But he was fun. He was fun because of his childish nature and his wonder at everything. And Disney took this route, which I've seen a lot of other movies take, where they make this childish character who always seems a bit wise despite their like stupidity, and they make them suffer existential dread in a way to try and relate to teenagers. I don't know, some group of people that are also going through existential dread, and like it's meant to be funny, but they didn't do it right, which is an issue. I don't know how they would have done it right. I thought it was a really odd choice in general. But Olaf was probably the least thing wrong with that movie. Like, of the characters at least. The next off would be Kristoff. My god, my boy Kristoff. What have they done to him? They gave him a completely unrelated side plot of proposing to Anna. And like, it was so weird because in the first movie, like Kristoff and Anna's relationship, they were pretty comfortable with each other, you know, like why was it so hard for him to propose? Like, he's not a very eloquent man anyway, and like it didn't make sense to me that his character would have so much trouble talking to Anna, where he literally convinced her about like certain things that she was just dead set on in the first movie, yet proposing and stuffing up the proposal was just like a continuous thing. And then they completely sidelined him. Like, he was out. He was gone. He was doing his own thing. He had that weird Queen video in the forest. Honestly, there was like that other character, and him and Kristoff. I'm not gonna lie. At that point, they had more chemistry than Anna and Kristoff, which was just really sad. I mean, Kristoff, other guy, reindeer, loving reindeer. Honestly, that there was more similarities there than there was with Anna and Kristoff in that movie, which was pretty shocking, pretty surprising. But now, like, the main issue, the main character flaw here, which I find, like, the biggest issue I had with that movie, was how Anna and Elsa were portrayed. Because Anna and Elsa in the first movie, they were all about that, like, sisterly love. They were about sisterly love. They were about not isolating yourself from everyone, you know? It was about asking for help, and it was about continuing to ask for help. I think the best example of how this movie stuffed up that relationship was when Elsa and Anna had just come off the boat, which Elsa did her water magic from, and saw her parents' memories or something, and Elsa wants to go, and Anna doesn't want to let her go. Elsa is forced to push Anna away with her magic, which was the issue in the last film. The issue of the last film, that Elsa was pushing people away because of her magic. And so seeing that happen, and then it was a complete reversal of what the original film was all about. They had completely smashed any of the messages from the last film by doing that. And I think another reason, though, is how they handled Anna. Anna was my biggest problem with the film. Honestly, I preferred the film so much better when Anna wasn't in the scenes. Like, Anna became so very clingy. So very, very clingy. And a way that I would have improved this is, like, you could keep the clinginess. If you must keep the clinginess, you must. But if we go back to that boat scene, where Elsa pushes Anna away with her magic, you could have had something so much better. Because, like, it's understandable that Anna just wants to be with her sister, right? Like, she had been cut off from Elsa so much of her life, and Elsa had been cut off from Anna. What would have been better, though, is accepting that they are together now. They are together. They are sisters again. But that doesn't mean that they need to do everything together. It doesn't mean that all the problems have to be solved together. What would have been so much better was if Anna had let Elsa go. If Anna had let Elsa go, like I trust you. About trust, because there was such a distinct lack of trust in that, like, it's understandable, but I feel like it would have sent such a better message to, like, the people watching the film, the kids, and it would have just made it a more interesting plot, like, if that happened, Anna would have actually had, like, a proper reason to feel responsible and to cry, like when Elsa died and she got that little sparkly message of, I'm dead, Anna, ah! You know, but Anna didn't do that. And so when she started crying, I felt like it wasn't really your fault because Elsa pushed you away. There was nothing you could do against Elsa's ice magic. The characters were what really let that film down, as well as, like, a ton of representation characters, which is, like, Disney just making those brownie points. Like, at least the black guy, I have no idea what his name was, but at least the black guy, he got lines, like he was an actual character, but basically all of the tribes people, they could have just been trees, honestly. They would have been as relevant as trees, as rocks. There was no relevancy except for, the Arendelle royal family had damaged their people, you know? Like, the key point is that the film itself wasn't bad. Like, the music was well thought out, except for that one song with Christoph. The animation was beautiful, amazing quality, way too good for children, which I think this was marketed for. But the plot, bit iffy, but it was the characters that really let people down. Because here's a very key important thing when making a sequel with movies. You cannot undo their history. You cannot undo a character's history. And, like, when I write personally, character growth is important. Character growth is so important, and just see it undone, it completely wrecks a movie. It completely wrecks a book. It completely wrecks any story. And I feel like Frozen 2 could have had so much more potential, been so much better, if Disney had just been patient and analysed their own characters. Anyway. Well, thank you for listening to my movie rant about Frozen 2. I have too many opinions. Help me.